Alrighty, so this video is going to show you folks at McKimmey Place how to check in your overnight clients using the new service model where you check them in when they present to McKimmey Place and they remain enrolled until they are no longer receiving services or when they leave McKimmey Place. So you are already set up under the emergency shelter provider, so you don't need to select your enter data as mode. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to follow the workflow. So step 1 is to go to ShelterPoint. Step 2 is to click on the Express Check-in. So before you do that, you actually just need to make sure you select the McKimmey Place unit list and then click Submit. And then you can click Express Check-in. Make sure you set the date and the time. So we'll say this client presented on the 1st. You always want to make sure your check-in times are at 4:00 p.m. Alrighty. So now you have a couple of different options to check your client into ShelterPoint. So 4A, if you want to go down to the client search, 4A says you can enter your client data into these client search fields. You can also add new clients to the database using this client search section. So we're just going to enter our client information, or you can just go ahead and enter their client ID number. That's 4B. So you'll just type the client ID number into the client number search bar. Then you'll click Submit. Then you'll just click on the green plus sign. And then 4C says you can place your mouse cursor into the client number search bar, and you could use your scanner if you've started using your client ID cards. You can scan the client ID card and their ID number will appear here, and then you'll just click Submit and check them in. So I'm going to check in client number 222 and click Submit. Alright, so that will automatically add her to the Express Check-in list down here. You can also add multiple clients at one time for Express Check-in. Alright, and at this point, if you want to add any services, multiple services, just make sure you update the date and the time. So in emergency shelter programs, services occur at 5:00 p.m. and you can just populate the end date with the start date if it doesn't do it automatically. Alrighty. And then if you'd like, you can add a specific service by clicking Add Another. Then just update the services. So if you know, say, they're for sure going to be receiving basic needs and community meals, and then so once you have your Express Check-in list completed for this specific day, March 1st, and you have any services that you want to document and add to these specific clients' records, then you can click Submit List. Oh, there we go. Now we can click Submit List. Okay, so a couple of those clients were already checked in, so that's fine. That's good. It's a good safety measure. So now what you want to do is you want to go back into the ShelterPoint list to look at all of your clients. So we're going to click View All. So these are all the current clients who are enrolled at McKimmey Place. So you can see some of them have been enrolled for a couple of months. So what we want to do for the new client that we just checked in, Amber Gorham, we're just going to click on her name. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to complete this full assessment. So obviously it's already completed, but this is from a previous enrollment into a completely different program. So you just want to double check to make sure all of this is still correct. So I know right off the bat this is wrong, so I'm going to update it to AL501. You want to double check the prior living situation. So you'll ask your client, where did you sleep last night? If she still says in her car, you can leave it as place not meant. And then maybe she says she's been in her car for 3 nights. So we'll just update that to 2 to 6 nights. And the approximate date homelessness started, you kind of want to figure out, okay, where were you before your car? Were you still in a homeless situation before your car? If she says no, she has been in a hotel for 2 weeks, then her approximate date homelessness started would be whenever she left the hotel and started staying in her car. So if she was in a hotel 2 weeks ago, so let's see, she left the hotel on the 11th. So she started staying in her car on the 12th of, let's say February, because this is March 1st, right? Because she entered March 1st. So if we're going to do it right, it'll be her approximate date homelessness started would be February 25th, and then today is March 1st. And then the next question, regardless of where they stayed last night, number of times the client has been on the streets or an emergency shelter or safe haven in the past 3 years, including today. We'll update that to 2 times. And then total number of months homeless on the street, in emergency shelter or safe haven in the past 3 years, say about 2 months. Alrighty, and then you can update this if you'd like. That's up to you as the case manager. If you want to know where the client's last permanent residence was, you'll just click add, and then you'll complete this assessment or this sub-assessment here. And then of course you want to update the total monthly income, non-cash benefits, health insurance, disabling condition, and then make sure you ask about the domestic violence if she's a domestic violence victim or survivor. If she says yes, you want to be able to determine when the experience occurred and if she's currently fleeing. If she says yes, then make sure you send me an email and let me know so I can adjust the visibility of her database record just for extra security. So when you're done updating the new client's entry assessment, you can click Save and Exit. And that's all you have to do for new clients.